Empire always arrives, wearing polished armor and speaking the language of peace. It promises security, strength, order, greatness. But beneath the gold and marble, Empire survives the same way it always has. Through fear, through violence, through domination. And into that world came Christ. Not riding a war horse, not commanding armies, not surrounded by senators and kings. A carpenter from occupied territory born under imperial rule. Raised among the poor. The kingdom of God entered history without a palace. An empire could not understand him because Christ spoke a language that threatened every throne on earth. Love your enemies. Blessed are the meek. The last shall be first. Forgive 70 times 7. Jerome, those words sounded weak. Empire survived by crushing enemies. Christ commanded people to pray for them. Empire survived through hierarchy. Christ washed the feet of his followers. Empire survived through spectacle and force. Christ entered Jerusalem on a donkey. Every part of his life was a contradiction to empire. That is why they killed him. Do not sanitize the crucifixion. Jesus was executed publicly by the state because his existence threatened the logic of domination itself. Pilate represented imperial order. Caesar represented absolute power. The cross represented terror. And Christ stood against all of it without raising a sword. That terrified them even more. Because Rome understood something many Christians now forget. If people truly believed the teachings of Jesus, empire would lose its grip on the world. What empire can survive when people refuse hatred? What tyrant prospers when the poor are treated as sacred? What machine of violence endures when enemies are forgiven instead of destroyed? The gospel was dangerous because it declared that Caesar was not Lord. Christ was. Yet now some Christians wrap the gospel in nationalism, military imagery, political idolatry, and dreams of domination. They preach strength without mercy, authority without humility, power without sacrifice. But Christ against empire does not become Christ serving empire. Just because the slogans sound religious. The cross and the sword cannot occupy the same throne forever. Sooner or later, one devours the other. And history shows that whenever the church becomes obsessed with power, it begins to resemble the empires that once fed Christians to lions. Listen carefully. The kingdom of God is not an empire upgraded. It is an entirely different order. His king wears scars, his throne arrives through sacrifice. His victory comes through resurrection, not conquest. The empires of earth build monuments to themselves. Christ built a table for sinners, strangers, and outcasts. Empire says conquer. Christ says forgive. Empire says dominate. Christ says serve. Empire says fear them. Christ says love them. These are not compatible gospels. One leads to domination. One leads to domination. The other leads to the cross. And only one of them walked out of the grave